everyone, welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shabani Gharat. India's adex is expected to grow by 7% in 2025, taking the overall ad revenue to 1,64,137 crore with an increment of 10,730 crore compared to 2024, says GroupM India in its annual This Year, Next Year report. The 2025 growth will be led by digital, which is pegged to grow at 11.5%. OOH and cinema advertising are expected to grow by 8% and 10% respectively. Print adex will grow at a mere 4%. GroupM predicted that TV ad revenue would decline by 1%. So 2025 will also see the digital share rising by 60% of the overall adex. To tell us more about the key trends, we are joined in by Prasanth Kumar, CEO, GroupM South Asia. PK, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you, Shivani.
Indian advertising will grow at a modest 7% this year. It's the most modest estimate that GroupM has come up with in the past many years since COVID, actually. So tell us more.
Great. I think you're right. Post-pandemic, I think the space of growth is obviously relatively modest from that context. But at the same time, we see it as more optimistic and progressive growth. Because when I look at growth of every single respective media, each of them are respectively growing better than the global respective media growth, right? Of course, the only factor is that in India, we estimate this to be a 60% on digital, whereas globally it is 80% digital.
On digital,
right?
Yeah.
If I look at the kind of categories which are there, right, in the top 10 or top 15 categories, I think a good 60% of the categories are growing at 10%, right, vis-a-vis the 7% growth, and rest are growing at 3%, right. And some of the categories which are growing well are categories like real estate, telco, technology, and so on. And we are estimating the FMCG category to be a little placed down, closer to 3% and things like that.
And what are some of the top trends that you are spotting that will shape advertising in the year 2025? Of course, globally, there are a lot of conversations on how agentic AI is going to shape the advertising business. So tell us more, how are you seeing those changes, within your agencies?
So yes, so technology is going to play a very large role, right? It is going to help in enabling better insights about our consumer understanding, right? And any better insights is also going to help us in understanding using data perspective. And there again, we also put the perspective of data privacy and how is that going to be a part of the entire game in the marketing framework for many, all clients, right, from that context. So that again, how are we using that? And therefore, how are we using that to target the consumers? All of that essentially will play. In this, we also estimated, or we also put that how the measurement framework will actually be more integrated, right? From the data coming from traditional kind of looking at from GroupM, and how is that getting evolved to the data that you have, from the consumer aspect, and how are you able to read it through, and therefore technology helping, and again AI helping in that form, and looking at from a full funnel perspective, right? So that again is something which is seen. I also see commerce as a big, large space. There is already an expanded commerce. You also have quick commerce playing in a larger form, right? I also feel technology actually indulging in the AR, VR aspect specific to content, and therefore engagement with consumers actually getting revolutionized and transformed, right? That's again another aspect. CTV is another aspect where we are seeing a larger enabler to the overall TV, linear TV aspect, and helping linear TV also to, to see a source of growth from there.
And how do you see these entire market fluctuations, the overall market volatility, like the whole economic turbulence in the domestic economy and also the global markets impacting some of the media strategies and advertising spends this year?
Yeah, so again, a very interesting point. If you look at the previous year, I think it has got a lot of aspects which you just mentioned, which has got played the previous year. The geopolitical aspects, as well as a lot of global perspective, war,
Yeah.
so on and on. How is it impact? Obviously, it
Yeah.
impacts on the prices.
Yeah.
So there is an inflation aspect which is coming through. While we do have a trend of disinflation, which is there globally, per se. But there are categories where the inflation has played a larger perspective, like food. Domestic, we look at food inflation has gone up, from that context. This starts playing raw material inflation, prices have gone up, when it comes to clients from that context. So these play a role in the expenditure, form, and therefore you may end up, taking control on cost, right? We see there is a nuance of that, which can play into the
overall advertising. Yeah.
But also, and if we say that, we may not comprehend the entire market, because what we've seen is also that there is a long tail perspective for India, which is actually growing in a good form, right? And to many digital players, which is almost 60% of the market today, a good portion, almost as high as 50% is coming from there. And there is a story of growth, there is a story of aspect that is going on, which makes it even tougher for the large clients. So this will go on for some time, right? It is also a period, and we're talking about 25, which is the third year from 22, which is 2 years after pandemic, where we really saw the advertising market growing by 18% and so on, right?
Correct.
So the base just went up. If you look at the CAGR of last 5 years, around 11%, right? The base just went up.
Sure.
And that's including 25, for instance, right? So base going up, still not, I don't think in 25 is, we've still not seen the entire startup money coming back, which actually, after 22 it slowed down. But we're estimating that in second half there is a chance that it may start slowly coming back.
Okay.
Right? So that uncertainty aspect, we are estimating in second half with a lot of money in consumer hands. The tax aspect which you mentioned. A bit of normalcy setting into, some of the categories.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Nipun Maurya, the CEO of iQOO, a brand that has made significant strides in the Indian smartphone market in just last 5 years, joining us on the other side.